Hello, 1801 here. Dave over in Birmingham in sunny England, and welcome back to our second part on our mini series of looking at the clusters and for 11 meters, and more specifically at ClusterDX. Something I may not have made clear at the start in the first episode, and hopefully you've watched that now, where we showed you about registration and once you'd registered and how to update your profile. This particular cluster is ClusterDX. It's a Dutch site, sorry. It's a site from the Netherlands, isn't it? And for those that didn't get it on the first one, ClusterDX, or one word, .nl, November Lima, will find you this site. Also, just to say, there are other clusters out there, as I mentioned in the previous video. I have no affiliation with any of them. They certainly aren't paying me to do any of this for them. And the main reason for using ClusterDX is the one. It is the one that I think gets the most traffic, and is probably the one that you'll probably end up doing. So today we're going to, on this video, we're going to just look at the cluster itself. So I'm going to hear you all shouting, come on then, you're into the second episode, what the hell's the cluster? Right, so the cluster, it's literally a spot. It's a spot of the station that you're talking to, or vice versa. So on this screen here, we'll open this up a little bit so you can see it probably a bit better. We've got a station here who is the spotter, and this is his path. So this is who he's talking to. So if we look at this top one, this fella in Brazil, who is 3 Sierra Kilo Delta 042 or 042, is on 27495 on USB, taking the short path. I'll explain what that is in a minute. Into Italy with 1 Golf India Radio 050. He's worked him, that means he's spoken to him, and he's given him a radio report of Radio 5, Signal 7, and he's allowed to put a comment on there. Now, that gives you the opportunity now, by looking at this and going, oh, I'd like to speak to somebody in Italy. Who's this guy then? We look down here and we say, well, these are the guys that are on that we're looking at. You see this guy in Qatar. He's been spotted up by all these people over here, and he ain't moved from this channel. Frequency. He started on 625, but he's moved up to 565 for these. So you've got a chance to whiz down a 565, have a listen to what's going on, try and get in and speak to this guy, get in his log, get a QSL card, and suddenly you've got another DXCC ticked off. So how do you put a spot on? Simple. If you remember from the last time, I told you there's blue bars across both the centre and the top of the page. And you find the one that says add a spot, or add spot, and you'll find that above the cluster, it's the first box itself. So you add the spot, and what it does is it brings up this box. Now you can't go wrong here, because even if you forget what I'm telling you now, or what I'm showing you, should I say, there's crib notes all the way down the side. So each thing that you have to fill in, it's telling you what to do, or what to put, information to put in there. So in the first one, you have to put in the call sign of the guy you want to spot. So for example, if you're spotting me, you would put in there 26 Romeo Golf 1801. You put in the frequency that we were on, or are on. As it's 11 meters, we only got 27 or 26 megs. This will not work for anything other than 11 meters. So if you're an amateur, or you want to do this on VHF or UHF, it won't work. So forget about it. It's designed for 11 metres. So you can change that from 27 to 26. 27 is the default. And next to that, you just type in the 3 numbers of the frequency that we're on. So if we were on 365, you type in 365. If we sit on 365 and then for whatever reason we decide to move and continue the queue, so then you put the number of the where you split to in here. So we might move to say 335. So you just put 335 in there. Mode, well, it's exactly what it is. It's a drop down box here. Gives you the options of the various modes, LSB, FM, AM, etc. RST, this is your signal radio report. So we all know how this works, don't we? No? Okay. The first number is a 1 to 5 scale for quality of the audio. 5 being brilliant, loud, understandable, no distortion. The phrase BBC quality is used quite regularly. And that goes down to a 1 for somebody who, I can hardly make it out, mate, but we just about made the contact. And the second number on a scale of 0 to plus 40 dB is what you're reading is on your signal meter. So if it goes to the 9, he's a good audio or an excellent audio, you give him a 5 and a 9. And that's all on the drop-down boxes. The QRZ locators I wouldn't worry about because it's just something that's nice in your logbook, but you could waste 10 minutes of your time finding it out, and then you can put any sort of comments you want to put in here. So you could say, thanks for the contact, Dave. Greetings from West Virginia, or whatever you want to put in there. Now just bear in mind that, and although there's an option to change it, when you get to the QSO comment, QSO part, sorry, try again, Dave. The QSL part, that will be in the box on there. You have got an option to repeat that, but whatever you put in there will sit in your logbook. So if you want to call the bloke a bit of a expletive, you can put it in there, but it will stay in your logbook unless you edit it out. Right, so as we're doing this as a spot, you then tap save log and spot. Now you can just save it to the log, but what this does on using this, I'll show you a different way to do the logs later. That's a better way of doing it. If you save it to the log here, it puts the time in that you use it. It hasn't asked you for a time of this contact, has it? So it puts that time in. Whereas you may do what I do and write all these things down in your book and then want to put them on electronically that night, next morning, whatever. So I'd use this if I was you just for spotting. Don't do it for the log unless you want to log a call that you're on now at this particular time. Okay. Just one thing to say about the spot. It's no good spotting somebody if you're going to do this tonight. You've got to do it now when you're on the radio. So if you're like me and you're struggling and you're trying to do a video gate and you're trying to talk to the fella or lady, then you might do it straight after the occasion. But don't leave it 15, 20, half an hour, whatever. Do it as fast as you can. Because otherwise it's supposed to be, remember, a live database so that you know where people are. So if you start doing this 3 hours later, you're going to be sending somebody to whatever frequency we said it was, 365, thinking that there's some fella from Argentina there who they want to get Argentina in the logbook. I need to find that he ain't there. So you wouldn't want that to happen to you. I certainly hate it when it happens to me. So please, if you're going to spot, to make this spot work, it relies on this spotting work. It relies on you doing the information as soon as you can, preferably while you're on the call. If you can't do it while you're on the call, do it as soon as you get off. Take 30 seconds off the radio just to fill this form in. And the problem with ClusterDX is it does log you out every so often. So we'll just go back into that. Sorry folks, I'm obviously not close enough. device. There we go. Right. As you can see, I'm doing this as live. No fancy editing. None of them cards and music and all that lot. So that's how the spot works, really. And that's really it. There's your spots. So you get the time, the spotter, and who is spotted. And that is how the spot works. And you can look at all this information, and I'm looking at this now, and the thing that stands out to me is the lack down this column of English flags. So that suggests to me that there ain't a lot happening in England today, and that's why I'm doing this film now, because there is absolutely no activity on the 11-metre band here in the central part of England. I'm just looking past the camera at the radio on 365 LSB, and the needle isn't moving. So that's why you see no English flags are there. You may see the odd one over here, but down here you ain't seeing nothing. And this is a good gauge. What there is the option is, instead of having this in a list over here, there's a thing that says spots map, and basically you get this page as a map with lines on showing you where they're all going. Like that. So you can now tap on these and you will see where they're coming from, who they're going to, and the time. So 26 Alpha Tango 211, so that's England, at 16:20 UTC on 27575. And if you blow that up, it does tell you. You can't see very well who he is, but you can see there that he's tracked to the Barbados. And if you can read that, I can't with my bloody eyesight and lack of glasses. It does tell you the call sign of who he's been speaking to. So you can do it that way, but the preferred route for me is to do it this way. You get a better quick look at the names and the flags and everything else. I've pressed the button there by mistake, haven't I? I've done there. Right, so that's the spots. So that's the second of these videos wrapped up. The third one will be looking at the logbook itself. So yeah, that's episode 2 done. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it's making any sense, some sort of sense to you. Just sit and look at these things. You'll soon get a grip of what's happening. You might use this reverse, by the way, and that's when you're flicking around the radio and you go, who's that on 370? And you look down here and find out who's on 370. Is it somebody logged on here? So that's the spots. We'll leave it there for now. Hope you found it interesting. Thanks for taking the time to come and have a look. We'll be along with the third part of this series shortly. So thanks again for looking, and we'll catch up with you all soon. Take care for now. Bye-bye.